Elasticity refers to a very basic concept in economics and a very useful concept in economics. Elasticity essentially boils down to the measurement of the sensitivity of one variable to another variable. Yes, there are different types of elasticities, but before I get to that, I'd like to mention the different degrees of elasticity, which I think is also very important. So you've got elastic and inelastic and unit elastic. Those are three basic forms of elasticities. Elastic basically refers to a relatively large change in one variable resulting from a change in another variable. Inelastic refers to a relatively small change in one variable resulting from a change in another variable. And unit elastic refers to a one-for-one change in one variable for the change in another variable. So those are the different degrees of elasticity. As it pertains to the types of elasticity, really there are an endless amount of elasticities you could use, because any two variables that have a correlation or causation could be represented through an elasticity. One of the more basic examples in economics is the price elasticity of demand. So the elasticity would tell you the percentage change in demand resulting from a 1% change in price. So if we say that price elasticity of demand is -2, this would represent an elastic price elasticity of demand, and the negative represents the negative correlation between price and demand. All this means is that when price goes up, demand goes down. Elasticities generally do not stay the same from the short run to the long run. If we consider price elasticity of supply, for example, we would see that the elasticity of supply in the short run would be relatively inelastic, and the price elasticity of supply would be relatively elastic in the long run. And therefore, the reason for this boils down to capacity constraints. So all this means is that in the long run, companies have the ability to add production capacity to the production process. This means that when the price increases, in the long run, the ability to produce more or supply more is better. This means that supply increases significantly more in the long run than it does in the short run. As I mentioned, in the long run, they are able to expand capacity because they are able to build factories and plants. However, in the short run, there is not enough time to build factories and plants or additional factories and plants. What this means is that production is constrained by the existing infrastructure. Therefore, in the short run, supply would increase relatively less than it would increase in the long run. This is why the elasticity of supply would be inelastic in the short run and elastic in the long run.